It's Atul here from your Bitpaper representative, and today I'm really excited to have someone who I got to know a while back, who's a huge Bitpaper fan, has been using it for a few years along with me, written loads of blog posts, reviews, and recently put in quite a bit of his own time and produced an extremely detailed guide and on using it on a video, audio guide, and writing. So yeah, here I'm very excited to welcome today to our live stream part one, Matt Thompson.
All right, thanks, Atul. Welcome everyone who has joined us today. Thank you so much, Atul and the Bitpaper team, for welcoming me today onto the Bitpaper Facebook page. It's great to be here. I'm really excited to share a bit more about using Bitpaper with you. And yeah, I really appreciate you joining us today. So I'll just introduce myself a little bit. Is that okay, Atul, to do a quick intro?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I'm just checking comments here.
All right, yeah. So, yeah, as Atul said, my name is Matt. I'm an EFL, or English as a Foreign Language tutor. I've been doing that for about 14 years now, and I started tutoring online about 8 years ago. So, I've been doing the online tutoring thing for a while now. And about 4 years ago, I decided to share what I had learned by doing online tutoring with other tutors. And I launched my blog called Smart Online Tutoring. Some of you might have already experienced the blog content, but this was an area that I was really keen to be a part of so that I could share my experiences of tutoring online, what worked for me, what tools I've been using, just to give a good idea about my experience to help others. And it was in doing that blog that I discovered Bitpaper. And when I found out about Bitpaper, I just knew that I had to tell lots of people about this amazing online whiteboard. And I did a review article of Bitpaper, and it's just grown from there, really. So yeah, as Atul mentioned, this is something that I'm passionate about, using Bitpaper. And also sharing that with others and showing others how to get the most out. So really today's session is all about that. It is aimed at beginners or people who are relatively new to Bitpaper, but I'm also hoping that if you have used Bitpaper for a while now, you'll still be able to learn some new things and get an insight into how you can get the most out of it to your online tutoring. So in terms of what we're going to do today, I'm going to share my screen with you now. And so hopefully you'll be able to see what I see, and we can go through what we're going to cover today. So Atul, is that all right? Can you see what I've got on my screen?
Looks great. Overview. We've got some comments coming in already as well. Karen, Margaret, Michaela. So yeah, all good. People
Fantastic.
are there.
Yeah, that's excellent. Oh, absolutely. Your comments are all welcome. And yeah, let's have a quick look at what we're going to be covering today in the overview. You might have already noticed that I'm using a Bitpaper to do this presentation. So let's get started. So I'm just going to reveal what we're going to be doing. This is a little tip that I learned from another tutor. Thanks, Tina, for sharing that with us. I'm going to draw the blind down like this and just reveal what we're going to be covering today. The first thing is getting set up with Bitpaper, just going through the basics of the hardware and software that you'll need to get set up and get the most out of Bitpaper. Then we'll be moving on to creating and saving your paper. This is a really important step to make sure you don't lose all of your excellent work that you put into creating your papers. Then I'll give a quick introduction to some of the key drawing tools that you can use to add content, to annotate your paper. And also a couple of top tips when drawing, some of the features that you might not be aware of. Then we'll have a quick behind the scenes look at Bitpaper Boss. That's the course Atul mentioned at the beginning. That is a very full overview and information. It's a video course about how to use Bitpaper. And I'll be sharing a little bit more about that and how you can get a discount on the course as part of the Bitpaper team. Okay, and finally, Q&A session. will be answering your questions live on today's session. So at any time, just add your question in the comments below this video, and Atul's going to be collecting them as we go along, and then we'll answer those at the end of the session. So stay tuned until the end for the Q&A session. All right, so that's how we're going to go through the content today. Let's jump straight into getting set up with Bitpaper. So this is just a quick picture of my personal home setup. I work from home and have done all this time for the past 8 years tutoring online. And this is the setup that I use, my home office desk. And you'll notice a couple of things straight away. There's a laptop computer. I've also got an external mic with speakers, a pen tablet, and also a second monitor. So when you're thinking about getting set up for using Bitpaper and just online tutoring in general, the number one thing to start with is the computer. Now, I'm using a Mac computer, but PC computers are absolutely fine. Atul, you use one of those. So either computer that you use, whether it's a laptop or a desktop, a Mac or a Windows-based computer. The one thing that I really recommend, and I know that the team at Bitpaper also strongly recommend as well, is that you get a computer that is modern and as up-to-date and as powerful as possible to get the most out of Bitpaper and tutoring online in general. This is really something that I've experienced throughout my tutoring career. Having a good quality computer really helps in terms of how effective and how professional your lessons can be. So yeah, that's the number one tip for using your computers. Go for something good quality, modern, and up to date. That's really important.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, Atul's agreeing with that one. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so then we can move on to sound. That's really important as well. That your students can hear you clearly and you can hear your students. Now, there are a couple of options. Personally, I like to use an external microphone. I'm using something called a Blue Snowball, and I also use some external speakers. Just some budget computer speakers are fine. But I found that this creates a really good, clean sound for my students. I'm able to hear them clearly. But I know that there are many tutors that also just use a headset with a microphone. That's also fine. Whatever is your preference, but I would probably avoid using the inbuilt speaker on your laptop. These are generally not very good quality. So for small investments, either in a headset or a bit more of an investment in an external microphone, that's really going to pay off in the long run in terms of providing quality again. There's nothing worse than not really being able to hear your tutor or to be able to hear your student clearly. So yeah, those are two things that I would strongly recommend getting hold of, either a headset or external mic and speakers. Moving on to the bottom right-hand corner there, you might not have seen one of these before. You might be very familiar with what it is, but this is a pen tablet. I'm using the entry-level budget Huion 420 pen tablets. Other people use things like Wacom tablets as well. But what it basically is an opportunity for you to draw directly onto Bitpaper using a plastic pen like this one, which attaches to a USB pad like this one, which you can just plug directly into your laptop. And then as you draw on the pen tablet, it goes directly onto the screen. Other people like to use touchscreen laptops. That's absolutely fine as well. But this is a very cheap way of inputting your writing directly into Bitpaper. You can pick these up for around about $30 or £25 online. So as a tutor, it's an inexpensive product to get hold of. And also as a student, if you're introducing students for the first time to online tutoring or online lessons, and you're going to be using Bitpaper, really a pen tablet is essential. Trying to draw with your finger on the trackpad or with a mouse is really quite challenging. And it's quite difficult to not look like a 4-year-old when you're doing it that way. It is possible, but really a pen tablet is a must. So it's a small investment, but one that I would strongly recommend, particularly when using something like an online whiteboard like this. So that's really the main things that you need to consider when getting set up with your hardware. I've opted for an extra screen, an extra monitor. This just allows me a bit of extra space to add lesson materials on a different screen. It's great for screen sharing. At the moment, I'm currently screen sharing with you. I'm sharing my laptop screen. But if you see me looking up, it's because I have other information on my monitor just above my laptop screen. So again, this is optional. It's not really a must, but I find it particularly useful. Okay, so that's hardware. Again, if you've got any questions about that, feel free to add that in the comments. Let's now quickly move on to software. There are really only a few areas that you need to be aware of when it comes to getting set up with your software on Bitpaper. The first one is, if you don't already have a Bitpaper account, you can quickly and easily get one by going to bitpaper.io. You can sign up there, but just one tip when you're signing up, there are different ways to sign up currently. You can sign up with Facebook or an email or your Gmail account, but just take a note of which one you use when you're signing up, because whatever method you use to sign up, that will create an account for that sign up method. I prefer to use my email, so you can sign up with your email, and that means everything that you save within that one account, you'll be able to access by going in. Some people feel like they've suddenly lost all of their saved papers, and it's often to do with the fact they've signed in with the wrong accounts. Maybe they signed in with Facebook and email, that creates 2 separate accounts. So just a little tip there for you when getting signed up to Bitpaper. So once you've got your account set up, there are 2 more things you need to be aware of, and these are really going to save you most of the technical issues moving forward. The first one is to make sure that you're using Google Chrome. Now, if you're not sure what that is, it's a browser, and a browser is just what you use to view things on the internet. So you can use different browsers. You might have heard of Safari for a Mac, or Firefox, or Internet Explorer. These are all different browsers that you can use, but Bitpaper is optimized for Google Chrome. So it's highly recommended that you use Google Chrome when you are using Bitpaper. This will mean that you have access to all the features, and it will be the smoothest browser that you can use. So that's the tip. If you don't have Google Chrome, you can download it for free, and you can then use that on your computer as your browser. Make sure that it's the most up-to-date version if you already have Google Chrome, because they often bring out updates, and Bitpaper supports the most up-to-date version of browsers. So that's the top tips for getting set up with your browser. And finally, we've already talked about the hardware on your computer, but software is also very important. So when we talk about the operating system of the computer, we're really just referring to what the computer uses to operate or run. On a Mac computer, I can update my software so that it's the most up-to-date version. At the moment, that's called Catalina. You can see here in the picture, I checked this just yesterday, and it says the Mac is up-to-date. So I have the latest version of the operating software, Catalina 10.15.5. If you're using a PC with a Windows-based operating system, make sure that's up-to-date. You might have automatic updates on, but if not, just check that that's up-to-date, and that will, again, really make sure that you're getting the most out of Bitpaper in your online tutoring. Bitpaper supports only the most up-to-date operating systems, so that's Windows 10 and Catalina, and for Apple devices, that's iOS 13 currently. Whew. So that's all of the hardware and software. Again, any questions about that, feel free to ask. But let's now move on to getting started with Bitpaper.
Yeah, we've got a
All right.
couple of questions already, which I can either ask at the end, or maybe you can answer that now if that's more appropriate.
Let's save the questions till the end, and we can answer all of those together. That's probably going to be the easiest, just so that we can get through everything in order. Thanks, Atul. That's great. Thanks for collecting those, and thanks for your questions. We'll get around to those.
Just keep them coming.
Yeah. All right. So getting started with Bitpaper is super easy. You just go to bitpaper.io, click this green button here that says Create Paper, and that will create your first paper within your account. You'll see a screen, and you'll be in. You'll be ready to go. They'll ask you to name your paper as well when you're creating it. And then here is my top tip for you before you do anything else, and that's save your paper. You can do that really easily by coming down here to the bottom left-hand corner. Actually, let's just move that arrow down slightly. This is the menu tab. And when you click here, it will open a little side window, and then you can see this option that says Save Paper. If you click this option, at the moment, mine is already saved, which is why it says this paper is already auto-saving in My Papers. But if it's the first time that you're saving the paper, it won't say that, and you can just click Save here. What that does is saves your paper into your My Papers folder. This is effectively where all of your saved papers are kept within your Bitpaper account. And this way, if you were to close the window by mistake, you won't lose what you've saved. You can actually still, in an emergency, find your paper by checking your browser history, but it's much easier to save it directly into your My Papers folder. If you're not sure where My Papers folder is, it's right at the top of this menu window here. And if you click that, that will then go to all of your saved papers. By the way, a quick tip as well for saving your paper. You can either use the menu feature like I've just showed you, or you can use a quick shortcut key, which is Shift+S. Now, shortcut keys are fantastic, and they are used all throughout Bitpaper. It's a bit more of an advanced feature, but I wanted to introduce it to you today in the Thank you so much, Atul, and because I think the quicker that you start using shortcut keys, the better Bitpaper is going to be for you and your students. I can see Atul nodding there. Firm favorite with the shortcut keys. So that's the first one I'm introducing you to, the Shift+S key to save your paper. Okay, so that's creating and saving your paper, as easy as that. All right, so next I'm going to introduce you to some of the drawing tools. Now you can find all of these at the bottom here, and let's get started with the one on the left-hand side. This is the color palette or color settings, and if you click this one, you'll notice that it opens up this little window on the left, and you can choose which color you want your pen to be. They've recently added a whole bunch of extra colors, so you can get even more creative by clicking the plus button and selecting any color you wish. And then you can decide how big you want your pen to be by dragging this cursor right or left. Now, my preference is to have the pen relatively small. It just helps with keeping your writing neater. Otherwise, it kind of looks like you're drawing with a crayon. And I aim for around about 2 or 3 with the pen setting. Also, you can adjust the eraser width here as well. I like to have this a little bit larger, around about 20. This just means that you can erase things quicker rather than having to erase with a very small size eraser. You can go all the way up to 80 if you want, but you'll erase half your stuff on your page. So aim for around about 20. This is my preference. So you can do however you like that. So once you've finished, you can just click this arrow button here to close the tab. And that's your color settings ready to go. Now, to the right of that, you'll see the pen tool. This is the tool that you're going to be using a lot. And you'll notice there's a little 1 next to it. That means it's the shortcut number 1. So if I press the number 1 on my keyboard, that will select the pen automatically, or you can simply click on it like this with your cursor. Now you'll notice it's turned green. That means the pen tool is now active. and you'll see a little pen symbol here, which shows that the pen tool is selected. Now I'm going to move over to my pen tablet now. This is the pen that I'm using, the Huion, and I can now start to annotate my paper. Now I've just used one of the flyers for today's live streaming session to give you an example of how this might look. But as an English as a foreign language tutor, maybe I might be doing a lesson on punctuation, for example. So I might want to circle this one and say to my student, do you know what this is called? And when they give the right answer, I can just write it like this. As you can see, my handwriting is not perfect, but it never was, even before I started tutoring online with a pen tablet. Don't worry, with a little bit of practice, you can get smoother with your handwriting. But as you can see, I can smoothly and quickly write with the pen tool on Bitpaper in real time. This is another fantastic feature of Bitpaper. Everything that you write is instant, so the student will be able to see that straight away. So I can use the pen tool like this. Maybe I might want to highlight this one here and say, well, do you know what this is called? Could draw a little arrow down here, maybe right here. And you can see that with the pen tool, you can easily highlight anything. I can keep circling, or maybe I might want to underline a little bit at the end here, and then continue writing. I can either write over the picture that I've added, or if I want to draw a little bit below, I could draw like this. Let's say, for example, I wanted to teach them the difference between the British English and the American English, full stop or period. So we can get the idea there about how you can use the pen tool to annotate anything on your screen. Let's say, for example, I come over here and I want to highlight, underline. I'm an EFL teacher. What does EFL stand for? English as a foreign language. And I can just continue writing like this. But you get the idea. The pen tool can be easily used anywhere on the screen to annotate what you've got. So one of the things that you'll notice when you're drawing online is sometimes make a mistake. That's normal. We all make mistakes. Now, we can come down here to the next tool, which is the eraser tool. And if I click this one, you'll notice that the tool now looks like an eraser and it has the circle on it. So let's say, for example, I wanted to erase what I've just written. I can simply use the pen tool like this and erase away like that. That's how you use the eraser tool. It's quite straightforward. Just click on it and then draw over what you've just written. The eraser tool is number 3 on your shortcut key. So you can jump very quickly from the eraser to the pen tool by clicking 3, then 1. You can see I'm not coming all the way back down here and clicking on them. Oh, you see even there, it's a little bit hard sometimes to click on. I'm changing like that. I'm simply pressing the buttons on my keypad. Number 2, by the way, brings open the pen color settings. So let's say, for example, you quickly wanted to change color. You can come over here, press the number 2 again. Away goes the menu on the side, and straight away I can start writing in a different color like this. So it's a really quick way of navigating around by using the shortcut keys. Okay, so that's the pen tool and the eraser tool. I'd like to just share with you a new tool that you might not be aware of. This is something I love about Bitpaper and the team. They listen to their users. And for quite a while, people have been asking for a highlighter tool. They listened and they delivered. And the highlighter tool was recently released onto the Bitpaper platform. And you can actually see it just here. I draw a little arrow just to the left of the pen. It looks like another small pen, but this is the highlighter tool. So if I click on this one, you'll notice it turns a shade of gray. And I can now highlight by clicking and dragging my pen like this. Ta-da! I'm now highlighting a particular part of the paper. I know this is a very popular tool with online tutors. It's great for highlighting particular elements within your paper, whether it's part of your image or whether it's writing that you've included. If you want to really highlight a lot and your highlighter pen is too small, you can change that. So again, we can either come down to the color setting here and click on it, or we can use our shortcut key, number 2. And you'll notice next to the pen, there is a highlighter option. If you click on this option here, you can then change the width of the highlighter pen. So if I really want to go large and highlight larger sections like this, I can do so. Or I can drag it back down to have a smaller highlighter pen. So it's just like the pen tool. You've got a lot of variation there in terms of the size. And you can even change the opacity. So let's say you wanted to do a lighter highlight on a particular part of your screen. You can see there it's a much lighter highlight. And that's just because I've dropped the opacity down. But if you want a nice bold highlight, bring it all the way up to the top, and you can see the difference there when I'm highlighting. It's clear, it's bold. So that's the highlighter tool, a really useful one that you can use in your online tutoring. Now, I want to also share a top tip for you when using the pen tool, and that's another feature called the straight line tool, or the ruler tool, as some people call it. So if we come back down to the pen tool, just to the right of it, you can see, if I click on the pen tool and then click to the right of it, that highlights the straight line tool. Now, this is going to be really useful. Let's say, for example, I know Atul is a maths tutor, an online maths tutor, so I'm sure he needs to draw lots of straight lines. Now, my maths is not brilliant, but I know that if I need to draw a right angle triangle, I'm going to need to draw a straight line. So as you can see with the straight line tool, as I'm drawing, it comes up with a little degree angle here. If I go left and right, it changes the degree angle. So I'm going to want a nice flat line here, 90 degrees, and then I let go of my pen. So I was just pushing down with my pen, drawing the line, and then letting go. So I've done a nice straight line there. I'm going to carry on drawing my straight line over like this, and then come all the way down. And I know it needs to be 180 degrees, so I can do that and then let go. And as you can see, I've now been able to draw a right angle. Now, this tool here, you can choose and select with your pen the way that I did, like that. Or if you just want to use the straight tool just for a moment and then go back to the freehand tool, you can do that by pressing the Shift key on your keyboard. So at the moment, I'm using the freehand tool, as you can see. But if I just press the Shift key, it goes straight into the straight line tool and then back to the freehand tool. So again, you don't have to come all the way back down, click, come all the way back up. So there's a little tip there for you when drawing a straight line. Shift and then hold down to draw the straight lines. So maybe I might want to quickly come back to my highlighter pen. By the way, this is shortcut key 8, and maybe I might just want to highlight the fact that I've drawn a right angled triangle. How's that, Atul, for a bit of maths in today's session?
I love it. I mean, I could geek out on it for forever, but yeah, I mean, us maths teachers like the idea that the line is actually a bearing which can be used to teach bearings itself, because it's on a, if you consider the north to be going up, then the 90-degree line is it's going east. So we can use that angle as a tool itself. But yeah, 90, 180, 270, 360 is the, gives you the horizontal and vertical here.
Absolutely. So a very useful function for different types of tutoring, particularly math. So I just want to show you one more tip that you can use to reveal answers when you're tutoring. So we know that if we make a mistake, we can use the eraser tool, the one here next to the pen tool, and then we can just use it like this to erase something. But as you can see, it takes a little while to do this. So if you want a quicker way to undo something, So let's say, for example, that I wrote a word here and I wanted to undo it quickly. I could simply come over here and click the undo button. You can see it undoes each single bit of writing that I've done step by step. Okay, that's the undo button. You can also click to the bottom of this button for the redo button. Okay, and we can redo the things that we've done. Now, this is good for quickly undoing a mistake or redoing something that you want to share with your student. But how could we use that in a teaching context? Okay, so let's say, for example, if we come back and we want to share, let's say we want to share about this part here. Okay, we might come down and write here underscore. Ooh, my writing's getting a bit worse. But then I can click undo, either by clicking the undo button here, or I can click very quickly with Z. This is another shortcut key. Okay, so Z can undo it, X can redo it. So let's say I wanted to test a student and say, can you remember what the word was for this symbol up here? Let's say, for example, I quickly erase it. They tell me, oh, it's ampersand, okay? And then I can quickly press Z, boom, and it comes back again very quickly. So by clicking Z, I can undo, X will redo. Okay, so can you see how this becomes a powerful tool for revealing answers or hiding information that you've erased? Okay, so this could be a good way to combine the eraser tool. I'm going to erase all of the new words, but one thing to note, just be careful that it will also erase the image that you've got there as well. So if you do a little bit much, just click Z and you can undo once again. Okay, so that's the undo and redo to reveal or hide answers as you're teaching. This could be a good tool to help with your revision activities, for example, when you're tutoring. Okay, so those are a few of the main tools for getting started. There are more tools below here, which I'll be sharing with you a bit more in the next session. But for today, those are the main tools for you to get started. As you can see, you can quickly draw, highlight, and add annotations to your board very quickly and easily with those tools. Okay, coming down now, I just want to share with you and give you a little bit of an insight into the Bitpaper Boss course, which is going to help you immensely if you want to learn how to get the most out of Bitpaper. It's a very full course. It's a video course, which means there are lots of step-by-step videos which can show you everything about Bitpaper and how to tutor online effectively using it. Now, this course has different sections within it. In section 1, it's mostly about getting started with Bitpaper. Some of the areas we've talked about today, using the different tools, but going into detail about how to use each of those tools effectively. So you can see there things about like adding shapes, using copy and paste, all these kinds of things about getting started. So if that's you, you're just getting started, section 1 is going to be really useful for you. And at the end of every section, there's a quiz, which you can use to test your learning, a multiple choice quiz. And also I've set different challenges as well. For example, the toolbar challenge, we're going to be looking at that next week as well. But that's something that you can get involved with and get interactive with inside the course. I always find it's great to put into practice straight away what you've been learning, and I'm using challenges within the course to help you do that. Section 2 of the course is all about creating high quality content on Bitpaper. This is also something we'll be talking about in more detail next week in the second session. But this is where you really start to see the different features of Bitpaper to create high quality professional lessons using things like the snipping tool, and all the different features that are available to add content to the paper. And also within the course, you can share your best bit papers with others, get inspiration from other tutors. That's something that I've always found to be useful, to ask and find out what other people are doing. You'd be amazed at what others are already doing with Bitpaper, to make it interactive, to make it fun for kids, for adults, for all sorts of different subjects. I mean, I teach English, Atul teaches maths and science, but Bitpaper is used by many different professions to collaborate online, even in the business world as well. So yeah, there's definitely opportunity to learn from others inside the course. Section 3 covers how to communicate effectively on Bitpaper, making video calls and interacting with your students, not just on the paper, but also in the video itself. That's obviously an integral part of tutoring online, and we're going to be looking at that in a bit more detail in the improvers section, which is the third live stream we'll be doing in 2 weeks' time. And also things like taking it to the next level, using Bitpaper like a pro. I've been introducing you a little bit to some of the shortcuts, and again, that's something that I'll be sharing a bit more about in a couple of weeks. But if you really want to go into full detail and have short step-by-step videos to follow, that you can rewatch again and again just to get an absolute clear idea about how to use Bitpaper most effectively, then this course will really help you with that. And again, there's another challenge in there. And at the end of the course, in section 5, there's a whole section to help you with technical support. I know it can be a bit overwhelming if you're new to online tutoring or new to Bitpaper, not sure about some of the technical side of things. Don't worry, we've got you covered. There's common problems and solutions, frequently asked questions, and an in-depth help guide as well, which will resolve any issues that you have. But as always, if you aren't sure, you can ask a question. Within the course, there's a comment section for every lesson, which you can add your comments, ask your questions, and I'll reply to those within the course. So there's always an opportunity to ask if you don't know, and I'll be there to help you. So at the final section, there's a little bonus section that I'm going to be adding and releasing new content to as we go along. At the moment, there's a couple of example lessons of me using Bitpaper, and we'll be adding to that as well to really give you an idea about how other tutors are using Bitpaper to tutor online effectively. So that's the bonus section, and that's well worth watching. So that's the course overview, a little look at it. And here's just a quick screenshot about how it looks once you're inside the course. You can see you've got the different sections on the left-hand side, and you can watch the videos on the right-hand side then. At the end of the course, once you've completed it, you'll become a certified Bitpaper user. You'll receive a certificate, a little bit like this one, which will demonstrate that you have a full understanding of Bitpaper. You'll be a Bitpaper boss, and you'll know how to tutor online effectively and really get the most out of it to deliver your online tutoring sessions to your students. So that's available for anyone who completes the Bitpaper Boss course. So how can you get hold of the course? You can do this currently through the Bitpaper site. You can go to bitpaper.io/guide. Atul, if you can just add that link into the comments, that would be great. And simply just go to this section and click where it says sign up. So that's just here. And when you click sign up, that will take you through to the Bitpaper Boss enrollment page, and you can enroll there. Now, I'm currently offering a big discount for Bitpaper users. So it's a 75% discount for a limited time. So go ahead and click on that link and sign up and have a look through the course. And I really think it's going to be useful for you. This is why I put the course together, because I really wanted to help other tutors to get the most out of Bitpaper. There are tons of features that even people that have been using Bitpaper for 1 to 3 years even are discovering for the first time. So it's great for beginners, but also for people who've been using it for a while as well. So that's where you can sign up and get the special discount offer at the moment. So that's the course. Now it's time for questions and answers. So Atul, do you want to share the first question and we'll jump in there?
Yeah, and once again, thanks for that demo. There's so many things. We've had loads of conversation and comments going on Facebook, and people are talking and they're sharing their things. And again, the reason working for Bitpaper, I was just like you, just a huge fan, I think, and the reason why we've been able to do all these things on Bitpaper is really thanks to your input. Like we're constantly, we're tutors ourselves, we use it, and we are listening to what you say, we are keeping an eye on the things that keep popping up, and we we wish we could like keep adding new features week on week, but 90% of the time we're trying to like improve performance, dealing with bugs and things, Chrome change stuff. So really, if we could, we just keep adding the features. So we are whatever you asked for, it's definitely in a pipeline, and we're listening. And so yeah, I'll just get started with one on Bitpaper Boss itself, actually. So Teresa Beach is asking about do you have to have the paid version to go through all of Bitpaper Boss?
No, you don't. You don't have to have the paid version. But I would definitely recommend uh, getting hold of a plan with Bitpaper, just because you only get one, I think it is one free paper at the moment on Bitpaper free plan. It's more aimed at students. So as a tutor, it's a good idea to have more than one paper to use. But absolutely, if you're just exploring Bitpaper for the first time, you can go ahead and do the Bitpaper course with the free account. That's absolutely possible.
That's great. So that just reassures people that they don't need to be on a plan. They can just sign up right away and got access to it. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
Margaret Allen's got, I suppose, simply, how do I share something from the internet?
Onto Bitpaper.
Yeah, I'm guessing what that means is an image or possibly even a link. If you could clarify, Margaret, that'd be great. Yeah, but maybe.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, there are a couple of different ways that you can share something from the internet. You can either share your screen if you want to share a web page, for example. Within Bitpaper, you have the option to share your screen during a Bitpaper call. That feature is in there. Um, and so if, let's say, you wanted to share a website or a video on a website, you could simply do that by sharing the screen. But if you are talking about an image, for example, a picture, yes, absolutely, you can add images and pictures to your paper using something called the snipping tool, or you can upload files directly if you download them from the internet. That's something that we're going to be looking at in our next section. The snipping tool is a very useful tool for adding content from the internet or from your computer to make your Bitpaper come to life.
Sounds great. Yeah, I mean, you can. Yeah, that's what Margaret meant. So yeah, basically anything really. Screen share, you can see everything on the computer. A link if you want, images, the whole lot. Okay, just looking at, just scrolling through a few more. Z Hashim's asking, is there a Facebook page for Bitpaper tutors? This is it really, but I suppose what if you I think what you may mean is, are there any Facebook groups where people use Bitpaper? There isn't a Bitpaper specific one, but there's quite a few communities, and I'd recommend joining them, because it may be that using Bitpaper for maths is more specific to your needs, or using Bitpaper for teaching language or phonics or geography or economics is more your thing. So there's a whole bunch of groups actually. I'd highly recommend the Ultimate Support Group for Online Tutors, which we'll link to, which has got pretty much, it's the biggest group for online tutors, so you can ask anything Bitpaper related. We have loads of users there. There's a few UK-based ones. I run one called Maths Tutors UK, another one Science Tutors UK. So you can do the relevant subject UK. You can just look around on Facebook and yeah, just join one of those. So yeah, okay. So oh, brilliant. Beth Hansford is in there. Yes, thank you very much. Beth Hansford is from the Ultimate Support Group for Online Tutors, and Joanne Kaminsky, who runs it. We're very grateful to both of you for it's been absolutely phenomenal to have that group help us develop Bitpaper. So Karen Merritt's asking, is it best to delete uploaded files once used?
Good question. You can. The more files you add to your Bitpaper, the slower it potentially becomes. But really, that would only be if you were adding a very large number of images, the high resolution. Generally, Bitpaper doesn't slow down. But if you were to use a huge amount of files, then yes, perhaps it would be a good idea to do that. But it's not necessary. Correct me if I'm wrong, Atul, to delete your images as you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of things, but yeah, if the Bitpaper generally gets, the more you use it, the more information it has. The more information it has, the more it has to take time to load from the server. And images are part of the information. Anything you write, etc., is part of the information. Generally, it's good to keep things as light and nimble as possible. By that I mean, if you got one page, then don't overflow on that page and write too much. Don't delete and use that one page a lot. Just go on to the next page. We're constantly like making things in the background to run faster, upload faster. Like the background engine, we're constantly working on it, but nonetheless, there's a few things you can do to make things run faster and more efficient. It depends on how good your internet connection is and your computer is. Those are the two main variables, which you started right at the beginning. I'd say like having a good computer with plenty of memory and CPU plus a good internet connection will help with most of these issues. You can actually, yeah. So
Yeah.
to maybe,
I think another top tip is to use multiple pages on the right-hand side if you're adding several images, rather than just adding lots and lots of images to one page and then panning around. So that could be another tip. But sometimes you might want to drag images directly from your upload file onto Bitpaper during the lesson. So that's another handy feature to have. So if you've deleted the image from your paper, then you'll have to re-upload it. So sometimes it's handy to have them ready to go, particularly if you're going to use the same image multiple times.
yeah, that's a great tip actually. Yeah, with the same image. Just another, quite a few coming in actually. Yes, this is it.
Okay.
Margaret Allen, can you use an iPad in place of the graphics tablet for writing? So use the Mac to run the session and access your documents, but then use your iPad to write on the document with an Apple Pen.
Yes, absolutely. You can use an iPad with Bitpaper. It's usable across all devices, including iPads. One of the issues with using iPads is that not all of the features are available on an iPad for Bitpaper. So there are some drawbacks for using an iPad as the tutor. You might find that a lot of your students like to use iPads and tablets, and generally that's okay. But just be aware that not all features are available, like copy and paste, for example. So my recommendation as a tutor is to use a laptop or a desktop computer when tutoring online with a tablet, or if you've got a touchscreen laptop. But yes, you can still use an iPad.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. No, lots of tutors do use iPads, and they like the feel of the Apple Pencil on the actual. So then it feels like a virtual piece of paper. But then yeah, I think there's a few things you can't do, like snipping tool, etc.
Yeah.
But there are some people who use Surface Pros, and then you can use the snipping tool and like the touchscreen device. So
That's right. Yeah, I have heard the Surface Pro is a good option. Yeah.
so yeah, try it and see, but then see what works best. Yeah, they're all they're all coming in actually. Let's go with this one actually. Teresa Beach. Is there a way to control the upload to a certain page? When I upload a PDF and expand it to a Bitpaper page, say page 6, it actually goes to page 60 or 70. So it's not in the area of the paper that I want.
Okay, I think I get that one. So when you upload a PDF, you have two options. You can either upload the file as a whole, or you can upload it as expanded. So if you click the option to expand the PDF when you upload it, every single page within that PDF will be spread across a single page within your paper. So you can see here on the right-hand side, these are the pages. Let's say you have a PDF that has 60 pages in it, and you click the expand button, it will expand across 60 Bitpaper pages. So if you just want to pick and choose where the individual page of the PDF goes, don't click the expand option when you upload the PDF. Just click the other option, and then within your file upload, which is here on the left-hand side, you'll have the option to select an individual PDF, and you can either then drag it directly onto your paper, or just click it and it will go to that paper, that page that you have open at the time. I hope that answers your question.
Great, yeah, I think that's what you meant. But if not, you can just put in another question, and we can either answer now, or we can even answer on the Bitpaper page itself.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, Dina Grimes commenting XP Pen is a great one for tablet. So yeah, Dina is a great. She's like a really good user of Bitpaper on the Surface Pro. So she posts stuff on her page, and we post it onto Bitpaper. But if you want to see how to use it with the Surface Pro, I'm just a fantastic user of that. Andrew Montgomery is asking, can you write in superscript and subscript using the add text tool?
Ooh, good question. I haven't tried this before. You can copy and paste into the text tool from other documents. Atul, have you ever done that?
Well, we are working on the text tool. Actually, we're doing a complete overhaul, so that should be possible in the future, where we can do subscripts and superscripts. At the moment, you can do the default ones like square and cube. And we're also working on a equation editor, so it's all
Great.
it's all coming. We really, I mean, we want this. We tutor ourselves, I tutor. So for me, it's like sometimes I'm first in the queue. Can I have this equation editor so I can tutor better? So we totally get it. So we just just a matter of time. Alkaline is saying an eraser just erase pen and not imported images. So I think what Al means by that is that when the eraser tool erases over the image and the item, so it erases over everything as paint effectively.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. I think that that's another tool that Bitpaper are looking to upgrade in the future, the eraser pen. So again, for now, it has that feature. It kind of paints over the top. So just be aware if you're moving images around, you'll then notice things come back. But yeah, for now, I know that there's some improvement coming on that tool.
Yeah, we definitely got that in the pipeline. It's just I won't go into the technical details, but it's because it's a vector program that eraser thing is a little difficult to implement in the first place. But it's definitely in the pipeline, and a neat workaround is that if you have made a mistake, just press Z and undo mistakes. And if you want to erase something without erasing it on the image, just move the image out of the way temporarily, erase, select, delete, or erase. Delete is, to be honest, I don't really use the erase thing anymore. I just select an item and delete, then it's deleted, and then put the image back in place. So yeah, not ideal, we're aware of it. So we're again, the eraser tool is something we get a lot of comments on, absolutely understandable, and we're just again we're working on it. We're working on it right now. Actually, the engineers, they would have joined us here, but they have we're working flat out 7 days a week. I'm not kidding. So we're on these things.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if there's a few more. I think we've answered more or less all of them. Yeah, there's a lot of love and appreciation for Bitpaper. Great to see that.
Thank you.
And yeah, just keep the conversation going. I'm just gonna just quickly scroll through. Yeah, Beth Hansford, thank you for all the love with the Ultimate Support Group. Dina Grimes is saying highlight the thing and then backspace to delete things. That's what I do as well. I select a piece of doodle or the image or something, click on it, it's highlighted, delete, it's gone. Backspace.
Just like that. We'll be showing you a bit more about that next time. The select tool. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. That's a live demo. Brilliant. So yeah, I think the questions we've answered pretty much all of them. I think it's it's kind of winding down. I've got duty in 4 minutes myself, so more
Busy.
Bitpaper for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once again, thank you so much for your time, Matt, to take us through all these.
You're very welcome. Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Just a quick little announcement about next week. We have got another session, but it is at a slightly earlier time. So just be aware of that. It's going to be at 3 p.m. BST. And the other times are going to be here. But we'll post that up on the Bitpaper Facebook page as a reminder. But it will be an hour and a half earlier next week. It's going to be Bitpaper for Beginners Part 2, where we'll be building on the areas that we've focused on today.
Fantastic. Yeah, I really look forward to it. And a lot of people have been asking whether the recording of this one will be there. Yeah, absolutely, it'll be there.
Yeah.
So if you have for some reason missed this one and then you want to go on to part 2, by all means, yeah, it'll be there. So just watch all of part 1 and then you can watch part 2. Or if you join halfway through part 2, you can go back and watch part 1 or part 2. So it's all there. So brilliant. So yeah, see you next week. Thanks again for the time. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Atul.
All right.
Bye, everyone.